Hello there, folks. Happy tidings. I hope your turkey slipped down with ease this season. I know mine was wet with gravy. Oh my, and the Turkey Day football. I'll be glad to see that in the rear view. We can finally focus on the season that really matters. The reason we're all here. Christmas!
Yay!
We do enjoy the old St. Nick around these parts, folks, and this week we're going to take it in an off-the-map direction. No, we're not heading for Rolling Hills, the beautifully manicured subdivision that looks like a movie set during the holidays all lit up and merry. No, we're taking the left at Arby's and going out back behind the Tolliston's hog mill to the side of town that prefers harsh bulbs in the street lamps. And everyone saves their street parking with a "fuck off, bud" sign. Welcome to Über Cinco, the podcast game show where we deep dive top fives. I'm your host, Mitch Brinkman, and today we lick the sour underbelly of Christmas cheer as we explore the top 5 terrible moments in Christmas movies. We've got 2 guys that cut their lines of Christmas cheer in different sizes. The first, he's all Griswold. It's Brian Ernst. Hello, Brian.
Hello! Mitchell, thank you for having me at Christmas time. I like it so much.
No problem. I love hosting you. My one question for you is, when you are lining up your little chugs of Christmas cheer, do you like your lines long and thin? Do you like them short and fat? Do you like them, medium? How do you do your Christmas cheer?
I like my Yule log just enough to put enough pep in my step.
Very nice. Do you have a special Christmas mirror or coffee table that you do it off of?
I do it right off the nutcracker's ass. Nutcracker.
Oh my God.
Nutcracker.
Woo. You're getting a bonus
a little
point,
too much Yule logging
that.
this morning. There we go.
Yeah. And our next contestant, he could take himself out of the town, but the town never leaves him. He's all Bailey. It's Nathan Hennenfent. Hello, Nathan.
Oh, hello. Merry Christmas. Glad tidings to you all.
Merry Christmas. This will probably be the first of a couple Christmas episodes here on Über Cinco, so strap in. Get something nice and sweet because this episode might be a little sour. We're going to have ourselves a nice little adventure today as we see what these boys have dug up on the terrible moments and some of our holiday favorites. If you never had the bad, how would you know what was good? Am I right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, do not forget, go over to BizBear.biz. Brand new, redesigned. It's gorgeous. Drop us some notes. Drop us some comments. Maybe an idea for an episode. And at the end, I'm the host, so I'll be doing the Fast 5. Stick with us because I'm doing reasons to say to your father, "Hey, Daddio." But first, let's do a quick rundown of the rules.
Each player in the den has spent time with today's topic arranging their top 5 answers in order of importance. Those answers have been submitted to the host who will moderate the game, awarding points to the player with the most poignant answer.
Starting with their number 5 choice, we will move up the ranks until we reach each of their top answers. But if both contestants happen to have the same answer on their list, well, we have an Uber stare-down.
You will hear the official Über Cinco siren, and both players must reveal their answer and what number they ranked their submission. An Uber stare-down is all or nothing, with one player earning 3 points. After all answers have been read, the host will reveal the final score.
All right. Everyone knows the rules. Great. Now, as host, I get to make a house rule. Now, this week, this one is all about leaning into the tropes, if you will. So if you remind me of a wholesome, gift-loving, overindulging, sentient Christmas cardigan, I will be awarding you guys secret points throughout. You'll find out about the bonus points at the end. So just be that syrupy, sweet, to my face and mean to my back, classic Christmas character. But okay, so here we go. Nathan, you've been telling me all week through text, AIM, Google Chat, Facebook Messenger, TikTok, Snapchat. You even sent your bird by to tell me you've been working on your George Bailey impression for weeks just for this episode. So I'm going to close my eyes and listen. And if George happens to come on the podcast and orders a turkey sandwich with extra pickles from me, then I'll let you go first and give us your number 5 terrible moment from a Christmas movie.
Now, I see that's a good-looking bird you got back there. Could I get that slathered up with some mayo and between 2 slices of rice? Oh, extra pickles, would you? Yeah, that's a ticket.
Absolutely, George. Thank you so much.
Set him up and knock him down.
So please, Nathan, give us your number 5.
My number 5 is misogyny and homophobic undertones in the beloved stop-motion animation classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Pearl clutch. What?
It's so terrible. The one that we like to quote in my family line is, Rudolph has gone missing, and Donner, his father, he's going to go look for him, and Mrs. Donner, who I don't think they even give a name to, she wants to go look for her son, because of course she does, because she's a loving mother. And they add this in so specifically, because it's not even just like a throwaway line. Burl Ives, the narrator, actually delivers this line. So they really had to go out of their way to make it in there. And it says, "No, this is man's work." And
but they're reindeer, so they can't even do it. They're not a man.
It's ludicrous. And so once they find out that the nose is there, the red nose, Donner's really ashamed of it, and he makes him try to cover it up. He says, "You'll wear it and you'll like it. There are things more important than comfort, like self-respect." This kid can't be proud of who he was. Santa himself sees this, and he says, "Donner, you should be ashamed of yourself," because his kid has a red nose. And in the song, you'll remember in the song, the other children wouldn't let him play any reindeer games. It's not the children in the show. It's the teacher. There's like a coach reindeer, and he tells the other children to exclude Rudolph.
My God.
Yeah. And then, so he's got a girlfriend who loves him for who he really is. And his father says, "No dough of mine is going to be seen with a red-nosed reindeer." And then, if it wasn't bad enough with just poor Rudolph, it's that you got the elf who wants to be a dentist. And then all of a sudden, everybody's upset that the kid wants to be a dentist. Like, they're chastising him for wanting to not be. So this is the whole thing reeks of racism, homophobia, a parable for that. And so you think, well, but doesn't the story have a happy ending? It is a Christmas tale. It's heartwarming at the end. It's uplifting. But capitalism rears its ugly head. Everybody does embrace Rudolph, but only because his red nose can get the whole operation finished on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
He is unpaid labor being exploited. That's the only reason why he is accepted.
Now, so Santa initially says, "Fuck this little guy, toss him out in the woods, let's let him die." And then only after he sees the money in his eyes and the cha-ching, cha-ching, and the dollar signs, he's like, "Then I will take this." Okay.
Exactly.
Man, Santa's kind of a bum, dude.
This is the worst on-screen Santa. He's the worst one.
Does he have like big nasty teeth or something to Santa? Is it I'm trying to remember what this one looks like.
Probably because they kicked the dentist kid out. But I do like this movie because it gave us the phrase "island of misfit toys," which I have used to describe basically every place I've ended up in my life, which
sure
says a lot about me. And also, you do get Burl Ives as the singing snowman with his shiny Christmas tree vest and his pipe and singing "Holly Jolly Christmas." I like that. So it's not all
you can overlook everything else, which is fine. That's put your blinders on.
It's interesting because you think about it, and in grade school, we sang Rudolph as like the song of choice because it's not religious, it's not whatever, anyone can sing it because it's just about, fucking deer. And, but like no one ever wanted to be, I remember like the kids who wanted to be like the Rudolph part when he'd sing it as like a child chorus. I remember most people would be like, "Oh, that person just wants to stand out and like shine above us all." There was like a weird tinge to the kid who wanted to be Rudolph. And now this makes sense that the original was about excluding that, little showboat. So, maybe a little gay showboat. I don't know, but
apparently, because that's like you can't be yourself anymore in the 40s.
This also makes me think of the It's Always Sunny Christmas special when they go to the claymation thing.
Yes.
And then you see the little elf's penis, and it's real funny. And kind of inappropriate.
Kinda.
And well, yeah, very inappropriate. And really, It's Always Sunny, like their aim was very sharp. Like they knew exactly what these specials were about, excluding and being mean to your friends. And at the very end, being drug across the finish line of being a good person. So, but yeah, Brian, I want to hear your number 5, buddy. Give it to me, slather it in icing, and shove it down my throat.
My number 5 is, yeah, we're going to the Santa Claus, 1994 with Tim Allen here. And I'm specifically talking about the fine print that is the clause of Santa Claus. This is the actual clause. It's in fine print that you can't really read unless you have the magnifying glass. It's at the North Pole. And this is what Tim Allen signs up for, which is really devastating when you read it as a legal term. In putting on the suit and entering the sleigh, the wearer waives any and all rights to any previous identity, real or implied, and fully accepts the duties and responsibilities of Santa Claus in perpetuity until such time that wearer becomes unable to do so either by accident or design. So you have to give up your previous life. You have to be this forever until you either die or you are forced out by the elves or some higher
assassinated,
power.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The wearer is unable to do so either by accident or design. We're going to take you out.
But doesn't donning the suit give you special powers too that makes you live longer? Is that
you
true
become
in the lore of
immortal
Santa Claus?
because you have to do this job in perpetuity.
Okay. That's what I thought. All right. So then you would never
immortal
actually.
unless
so
if you fall off the sleigh.
Correct. If you fall off the roof, you die.
So what? Yeah, I've never quite understood the rules of the Santa Claus in the Santa Claus.
So that means really it's only by elf assassination are you going to be leaving this post.
That is the design part of the clause. Yes.
Yeah.
And it took me so long as a kid. Like I saw this movie came out when I was 4 to really understand that like by throwing an E on clause, they came up with a movie idea. And then I didn't realize that I just thought that was how you spelled Santa Claus for the longest time because I didn't understand contract clause. Why would I? I was 4.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I watched it several years later that I was like, oh, I get it. This is stupid, even though I still like the movie, but, I don't know.
You'd be surprised how many Hollywood sequels were made up by just adding an E or an S to the title that was already there.
Yeah,
so
that's the whole pitch meeting. And it's also super creepy because this one, I mean, every single Christmas tale does elves in the way they want to. I've always kind of been more partial to the elf style of elves where they are just shorter adults or miniaturized forced perspective adults. This one, they're just all children working in a factory. It just doesn't sit well with me.
A little uncomfortable.
Yeah. But then they bring them really nice silk pajamas and hot cocoa. And you're like, why are these children in his room?
Why are they plying him with fine goods and trying to get him to relax?
But then some of the dialogue implies that they actually are just adults, but keep a childlike spirit, which is why they look like that. And it's just let's not go into detail on this. All right. Let's leave the clause to the clause. All right. Let's move on from here.
That's a great segue. Time to move on. I'm going to give you each 2 points for this round. Good start to both of you. We're going to go back to Nathan for his number 4, terrible moment from Christmas movie.
All right. This is from a 1980s TV special called A Muppet Family Christmas. And this is Miss Piggy being a diva during A Muppet Family Christmas. And I love the Muppets. I love the Muppets at Christmas time. I love the Muppet Family Christmas. I love the Muppet Christmas Carol. I love Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Very underrated Muppet classic. If you've not seen Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, for God's sake, get off your ass. The songs in it are just delightful. It is very charming. But What's the deal with Miss Piggy, guys? This is more of a question than an actual list item because. So in the plot is everybody goes to Fozzie's mom's house. People just keep pouring in, and it's just kind of cute, fun. Like there's an old guy who rented it who thought he was going to be there alone with his dog. He's the bartender from the Boondock Saints, actually.
Oh, that's who he is. Okay.
And it's like, oh, I thought I was going to be alone, but no, the Muppets, they're overwhelming me. And it turns out the Muppets are cute and fun, and we're all having a good time. But there's a snowstorm coming. And so Miss Piggy keeps calling, and Kermit is like, Piggy, it's a snowstorm. Like, you're going to die. You're going to freeze to death. You're going to get in a car accident. This is serious. And she's just like, she won't get off. She has more shopping to do. She's got to do. And it stresses me out every year. Just get to the farmhouse, Piggy. Oh. And so they have this little bit that runs through it. It's every time a new, the Muppets are coming in waves. Like, first a few Muppets come, then Ralph the dog shows up. He has the classic long, hey, I followed the truck on the way, and boy, am I exhausted. And but as every character comes in, there's an icy patch by the door, and they all come in and they all slip, every single one. And then anyways, the old guy, he comes to love Kermit and Fozzie and the whole gang. And so when Piggy's out in the snowstorm, lost, he goes out looking for her. And then the snowstorm subsides, and Piggy comes up. He's wearing like a big like Russian hat and a very fancy suit. And like an Iditarod sleigh dog thing comes in, and Piggy's all immaculately dressed and, making her big entrance. And she walks in, and the music swells, and of course, slips on the icy patch. Just perfect button on the whole episode. But I've never understood why. I don't think Piggy is funny. I love the Muppets. Miss Piggy she's just annoying. What does Kermit see in her? I always thought he could do better. Kermit's so sweet and kind and loving and patient. And what has Piggy ever done for anybody? She's self-centered. She's loud, annoying, and brash. Break them up.
Can I just say, I think Kermit is an ass man. That's my guess. Miss Piggy's got, she's got those voluptuous curves, and
What has there ever been a safer bet on deciding what fictional character is an anti-vaxxer than Miss Piggy?
She's worried it's going to melt her vocal cords. She'll no longer be able to croon for her adoring audience.
She doesn't want her ass to shrink because then she'll lose Kermit. She did her own research.
I watched a little bit of this on YouTube because I've never seen it before, so I wanted to do a little research on this. And there's a great moment when Rolf comes in and he meets the old guy's dog, and the dog is barking at him, and then Rolf goes, "Yes, bark, 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 Wolf, bark, bark, bark." And then the old guy looks down and goes, "Don't you hate when you can't speak the language?"
There's so many great one-liners in it. It really is.
Yeah.
It packs. It's only a half-hour special, and it packs so many little cool moments in there. It is classic camp Muppet 80s fun.
Also, the gang from Sesame Street is in it. Big
Sesame
Bird's
Street
in there.
gang
Bert
shows
Ernie,
up. They are like the last group to show up after Doc, the old man. He's already built bunk beds in the attic, and we've got Oscar the Grouch and Gonzo the weirdo sleeping on clothes hangers in the closet.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think also the perfect. I was thinking more about Miss Piggy in my brain. The perfect real person or movie character association is Meryl Streep from The Devil Wears Prada. Like Miss Piggy just always needs to be running something like that, right? And just she's supposed to be a dick to everyone, and that's like she's Mariah Carey, Like I like watching some of those moments of the special. I was like, this is hard Mariah energy, like. And now Mariah, I'm sure, has done Christmas specials recently with her, her All I Want for Christmas Is You, and she's decked out in white fur and on a sleigh and has, little people bringing her presents, like diamond rings and shit or whatever. But, by little people, I mean kids. Sorry, I didn't mean to, that was...
Wow. Now this episode is a terrible Christmas moment.
I know, right? Brian, I want to hear about your number 4.
My number 4 is something I discovered last night while doing research for this. I was like, man, you know what I haven't seen in a long time? A Lifetime holiday special. So I decided to find the newest one that was available on Amazon last night, and it was called Dear Christmas, starring a love from my childhood, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Melissa Joan Hart.
Oh, classic.
So I want to read the synopsis for you, but first, here's the log line. A podcast host develops an unexpected romance with a local firefighter during the holidays.
We can only hope.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah. So let's hope there's some strapping firefighters that are going to save us this holiday season. What was so funny about this is, especially with all of these movies, how just deliberate the exposition is in dialogue. There is just absolutely no brevity to anything. It's just like, well, I'm just going to fit this in here. So this is the opening scene is her recording a podcast. This is also funny. I've noticed about anything that's involving a podcast. Nobody has ever finished a podcast and released it in movies and TV. They've always like, oh, I've just finished the next episode and putting it out. And I haven't even thought about what the next episode is going to be. So now I have to live my life and then record the episode so that we have a next episode in the show. And it's like, oh my God, why are we making podcasts an essential theme in any sort of plots? But anyway, it opens with her being the close-ups of like 2020 podcast award winner and all these like Webby awards on her desk. And you're like, okay, we get it. She's got a successful podcast called Holiday Love. Get it. Okay, we got it. Boom. And then the movie opens with her boss coming in to give her a bonus check for having such a successful podcast. And this is what I put on there. This does not happen. This is why this is a terrible Christmas moment. You can't give people hope out there that they can talk about other people's love lives and get a big bonus check for it on a podcast. That's not how this works. This is episode 79 for us. We know there's no big checks at the end of this rainbow. Come on. And then she's sitting there. The boss gives her a check. We don't see it. She's like, oh, wow. She's like, well, you earned it. Blah, blah, blah. Is there anything else I can help you with? The boss, she's like, well, I didn't wrap any of my presents yet. So her boss, who just gave her a bonus check, sits down and helps her wrap presents so they can get through more exposition. Yep, I'm going to my small town. Have you ever been in love? I don't know. Maybe one time. I think love is like this thing for other people. Blah, 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 blah. And you're going through all of this stuff. My sister is due to give birth on Christmas Eve. And it's like, what are you talking about? But the best part is we get to the end of this conversation and the boss is like, well, I don't know anything about love either. Maybe I should actually listen to your podcast for a change. She's like, wait, you've never listened to it? She's like, why? I have a million other people out there doing it for me. I was like, wait, you haven't even listened to your own product? So I turned it off after this point. She goes home and you see her dad is Ed Begley Jr. And I'm like, Sitwell, come on. Oh, wow. What are you doing here? You're so much
money, baby.
You're so much better than this. But yeah, it looked like he did maybe 2 days on the movie and probably got a nice little paycheck. So good for him.
I say Hallmark movies are becoming very popular over the past couple of years. They put out a new one this year with two legends of the silver screen, Peter Gallagher, and the Ash from Evil Dead. What's his name?
I know what you're talking about. Yes. Campbell.
That legend.
Bruce Campbell. That absolute legend, Bruce Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing about the first 10 minutes of these kind of movies is they'll always ask a question like it is a boss or like a now because they're trying to be inclusive, a gay coworker that you hear from for about 5 minutes and they leave.
Correct.
They're like, hey, during the holidays, do you like hot cocoa like back in your hometown? And then she'll say like, yeah, me and my dad love it. My mom loved it too. And you're like, oh, mom's dead. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
You know,
we got a dead mom.
Kind of yeah. There's always a dead parent. Like you can just bet heavily on a dead parent in every single Hallmark movie.
When we finally meet who her parents are, Melissa Joan Hart. So first of all, it's all stock footage of Chicago. This is where she records her podcast. And then she gets on a road and it's all stock footage of highways till she gets to a mountainous region. So somewhere in Colorado. And she wakes up. She's like, "Hi, Mom, Dad, how are you?" It's like, "Oh, God, the bookstore's been really busy this season." Okay, we get it. They own a bookstore. All right. We're going to see that set piece very soon.
Yep. It's there. It's coming.
I can go on about this forever, so I'm going to leave it at that and just recommend it to every listener.
Okay. Does she get the fireman pole by the end of the movie?
I saved it. I didn't go through it all yet. I'm like, I can't, I didn't want to spoil it for myself.
Sure.
I wanted to let the audience know that this movie exists, and next week we'll experience that ending together.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. I have to score you boys out for your number 4s here. I'm gonna go for 2 points to Nathan here for the Miss Piggy take, and Brian, I'm giving you 3 because you found one of my weak points here at Christmas, and that's a terrible holiday movie made with faceless white Canadian actors in Vancouver. So, Nathan,
faceless white
please.
Canadians coming to it.
Well, this is my number 3 here is not faceless white Canadians. This is black-faced Americans, as in
no.
Bing Crosby in Holiday Inn. So the song "White Christmas," one of my favorites, comes from also one of my favorites, the movie White Christmas. Or does it? No, it actually originates from Holiday Inn, which nobody knows about or sees because it has Bing Crosby, Christmas icon, singing in blackface. Why, you might ask? Well, the premise of this movie is that the inn is open on different holidays throughout the year. So it's not just a Christmas movie. And in February,
an incredibly profitable model for any business. We got 17 days a year.
So they celebrate Lincoln's birthday or President's Day or whatever. And I was aware of this. I had not seen it, but I knew I had to include it. I went and watched it. It is readily available, and yeesh, it is painful to watch. The song is about how great Abraham Lincoln is. Bing Crosby singing it in character as a black person, and about, I don't know, 30 or 40 other white people are in blackface too during this song. And it's very much like a white savior thing. And look, I love Abraham Lincoln. I think Abraham Lincoln was the greatest president we ever had or will have, but it's just uncomfortable where it's like there are some actual black people in the scene, but they're given the most cringy lines. Like, I'm not even going to repeat them. Just the cringiest, most horrible lines, and it gets worse and worse as it goes. And at one point, I debate even if it's okay for me to repeat this part, but at one point when they're singing it, somebody says blah 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 Abraham Lincoln, and then you hear somebody yell out, "Who dat?"
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
God,
it's so bad. I will give you just the lyrics of how it's not even a good song. In 1860, he became the president. Now he's in the Hall of Fame, a most respected gent. Like, there's nothing redeemable about this. The only reason
is there a presidential Hall of Fame I don't know about?
Yeah, it's at Disney World where they're animatronic.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so I pulled this scene up just to look at it, and I immediately saw the set piece. I thought of Splash Mountain. Like, that's how much, like, ingrained racism is in Splash Mountain. And then also this horrible, horrible scene. And then he walks out in blackface, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the cringiest thing I think I've ever seen.
It's pretty mortifying.
These poor
do you remember the
black
first
people
time you saw this movie, Nathan?
Oh my God.
I had only seen like little bits of it. I had not seen this scene in particular.
Oh, okay.
Until this, I mean, maybe I'd seen it once before and blocked it out, but
yeah, I've never seen
it. The worst part about this is they probably at the time thought they were being really progressive and inclusive by doing this. There was so far behind the times, so ignorant. It's one of the most offensive things I've ever seen, and the only reason it's not my number one is because luckily people don't actually watch it, and the two ahead of it, people actually do watch every year. So there you go. My depressing, horrifying number 3.
Well, whew. All right. Yeah. Brian, take us on.
Okay. I was, 42 that was. I was way off on Rudolph. Rudolph was 64. I was like, they're both the 40s? Makes a lot of sense, but Rudolph's even worse being 64. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3. I'm going with one of my favorite Christmas movies, Elf.
Okay.
But I'm talking about his father, Walter Hobbs, because our first introduction to him of him being on the naughty list is him taking children's books away from a nun.
But the children love the books.
That is my sister's and I favorite line of any movie ever, because we sit there with the hands and we do it all the time. But the children love the books. So to make it the naughtiest thing we could do and make it kid friendly, we have a crying nun in his office saying he couldn't make the payments on the books.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes to the publisher, and the publisher takes the books away.
Mm-hmm.
Setup is fine. Execution, I'm not so sure about. Why is this nun going to a book publisher? But either way, like, he literally takes them out of the hands of children. And then next scene blindly approves a book without even reading it. It's just like, okay, yeah, we get it. You're a horrible man. We don't want to see you be redeemed, Jimmy Kahn.
Yeah. I do love the line where he's like, what? I need to spend 50 grand so some crying child can figure out what happens to a puppy? No, ship him. And he's like, do it.
Ship it.
Ship it. Yeah, James Caan is an all-time great bad guy. He's just a slimy dude, you know. He was the mob boss on the show Vegas. And we know, was it Nathan's friend that was an extra on there?
Yeah.
And he kept the set really, really cold to preserve his cold, dead heart.
Yeah. It was something like he wanted it to be like 44 degrees or something. A friend of mine, she was just playing like a server in this scene or something, and he was a jerk to everybody, and it was in Vegas, and so a server in Vegas, not exactly wearing a parka.
Yeah.
So she was like, I was just freezing my ass off, and there was like nothing we could do because he had it in his contract to keep the set super chilly.
What a rider to have. It's got to be 44. No, this is a rider I want to be able to control the temperature. I need to take note on this. I want it to be like 62, not 44, but
the Brian clause.
Yeah.
Guys, Brian's coming over for the Super Bowl, so we got to turn it down. I'm sorry. It's in his rider. In the windows. Winter's coming in.
It's in there. You got to have that. You got to have fresh bagel bites and some Coke Zero chilled to the right temperature as well.
Sure. Brian, when you first saw Elf, did you love it as much as you love it now, or did it take a little bit for it to seep into your holiday bones?
I think it's 2003. So, I mean, I was definitely at 13 years old or so when I saw it. I think I loved it right away. I think I was coming off of, it's a big Will Ferrell guy myself. So I was like, this is like SNL time for me. So him doing this, I think I just loved it right away.
Who's your least favorite character in that movie?
My least favorite, probably Zooey Deschanel. She doesn't bring much to the movie, unfortunately. It's not like she's given a lot of lines. I mean, she's just kind of there to sing a problematic duet in the bathroom while she's naked. So
that's true.
Other than that,
I thought about including that on my list, actually.
Yeah. Have you heard the woke version by John Legend? And I forgot who we did the duet with.
No.
Where they changed the lyrics. I recommend it. It somehow it makes the song worse. like instead of just accepting a song as being problematic in the time that it was created and just enjoying it musically and knowing that it's problematic and learning from it, you got to make a woke version. And it's just like, it just makes me roll my eyes even more, but good on them for trying.
You guys are both getting 3 points here because I love Elf, and Nathan, that's the worst thing I've ever heard of in a Christmas movie. So
it's bad.
3 points. 3 points for both of you. Speaking of problematic, let's go back to Nathan for his number 2.
This is another racially problematic moment. This is the Asian stereotypes at the Chinese restaurant at the end of A Christmas Story.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not going to repeat it. I think everybody who's seen the movie knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I think everybody had probably, when they were younger, laughed at it. So we can all raise our hands and say guilty about that. But there's a way around this. So the only reason this is ahead of my number 3 is because they show this on repeat every year, and they haven't done anything to edit the scene or anything. I mean, I'm sure everybody recognizes it's terrible, but the punchline of that scene is when they bring out the duck, and it still has its head, and they chop the head off. You can easily just cut ahead to that part, and you can still get that laugh. And I'm not sure why that hasn't been done yet. So that's really all I have to say on this one, is that this one we got a way around. We can still show the movie, but we can cut out that part. So people who, younger kids who are seeing the movie for the first time don't have to be exposed to it, but we still get to enjoy the rest of it because it is a classic.
In my experience as a child watching this movie, I almost never made it all the way to the end. I was like fall asleep or something. And so I didn't see the ending until probably like the 8th or 9th or 10th time I watched it. So I was old enough to be like, wait, what the fuck? What is going on here? Like, it feels like a different movie almost. Cause granted, the rest of it is just all white people all the time, but it feels like such an over the top characterization. But I remember seeing it, 12 or 13 and being like, oh. And also it feeling like they don't need that part of the movie either, honestly. Like, it feels like a tack on ending, but that's my opinion. I mean, that's story structure. That's another conversation for another top 5.
Yeah. I mean, when I was 8 years old, I mean, cause the movie would, be on 24 hours. So we would dip in and out, and it was like, oh, here's the end. And be like, oh, haha, funny little, moment, because their voices are different from what I'm used to. And then as you get older, like, it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's not fine what I was watching.
Especially when the owner or leader or teacher in that scene can say it. So like, he could have just sung the song, but he chose to put his workers on display who mix up their L's and their R's. And he's like, no, you guys are going to do this, and I will correct you in front of this white family until you get it right. And it's like, what are you doing, man?
So uncomfortable.
There's a problem with Christmas Story in general, is just that when you do play something on repeat for 24 hours, it takes a generation of children several years to figure out the true running order of the movie. I would come in on it at a different time every time and be like, wait, this happened already? What is going on? So please stop showing movies for 24 hours. It doesn't make any sense. And cut the scene.
Yeah, just cut the scene. Whoever owns the rights to that leg lamp must be a cajillionaire by now. That's all I have to say, because that thing is still everywhere.
You can only hope it was the dad. What's the dad's actor's name in Christmas Story?
Burton Sondefeld.
Either way, I don't know. It's when you go and watch these making of things. I mean, it was a $5 million budget for this movie. He got paid $2 million.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's like.
So the set was at his preference of temperature.
Correct.
For sure.
He may have insisted on going to a Chinese restaurant. You never know. So, oh, good Lord.
Nathan, another problematic but important to bring up, number 2 there. Brian, give us your number 2.
My number 2 is I have the dead eyes of every character in the Polar Express.
Oh, God.
So for those of you who have not seen the Polar Express, it's one of the first truly feature-length, motion-captured, animated things. And anybody who's a fan of the book is a beautifully illustrated book.
Wonderful book.
Wonderful
Loved
book. And
loved the book.
And the scenes that are plucked from the book and put in the movie are done extremely well. Like, they're just like, they're very iconic. They remind you of the book. And as a movie in general, I don't have a huge problem with it. Like, I've been around kids who totally enjoy it, and watching them watch Santa at the end is like, they love that and want to watch it on repeat all the time. Not a problem. The problem is with the technology not being there. And anybody who is aware of the uncanny valley knows that there's that brief moment when you make a human into an animated character. There's that one small little bridge you can't really connect. Your brain doesn't know why it doesn't look real, but it's very uncomfortable. And it was really funny. I was watching something behind the scenes on, I think it was Rogue One. I think that's the one where they did a complete rehash of Grand Moff Tarkin in it. I said one of the weird things that they notice when people and a digital character doesn't look real is the small amount of spit that gets stuck on your lips when you open and they separate and you talk. Like that little, like they fold apart and close. And that was like one of the things they figured out. Obviously, this was a lot more modern than Polar Express, but like they didn't even get like facial muscles down in Polar Express. So it's really weird. It's really creepy. You have a glorious Tom Hanks playing 5 really creepy characters, including Santa Claus. It's just like you want to be in the Christmas spirit because you're being reminded of this book that you love. You're getting these dazzling images, like scenery, and is beautiful. Snowfall is great. And you punch into this close up of this kid singing and you're just like, something's wrong. I don't feel right. What's going on? And it's just like, it's like, there's no cheek muscle movement. There's like no eyebrow movement. It's like all these kids have Botox and you're like, oh God, they get every single one of these kids from Beverly Hills. What's going on? So it's extremely uncomfortable to watch sometimes.
And in this enclave of Beverly Hills, they don't stop at the cheeks. They do Botox right in the eyes too. You know, there's just
dead eyes. We want our kids to have those dead Christmas eyes.
Dead shark eyes for all our future industrialists here in Beverly Hills.
And do you remember the hobo character that lives on top of the train that Tom Hanks plays?
I forgot about this hobo character.
So the kid crawls up because he's got to make his way from the caboose to the front of the train. And the fastest way to do that, because there's
let's not talk about sex here. Come on, let's keep it on the movie.
And the fastest way they have to do is they have to ski down the train and make it to the front before they go under a tunnel. But as he's up there, he's met this like homeless guy that lives upon the train. And he's the stereotypical guy with scruff. He's got a Kangol hat and a little bindle and everything. It's like, whatever. He's just a stereotype in himself. And then he's just up there making terrible coffee, but he kind of talks like this, you know, it's just Tom Hanks doing his weirdest whatever voice. Yeah. And the first time I saw it, it was pretty terrifying. It was like, is this kid trusting him? And it's like, he fashions skis out of something and puts the kid on him, and the train's going downhill, and the most dangerous stunt a child would ever do.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they finally get all the way down to the front of the train. He pushes the kid into the coal pit behind the thing. And then his character hits the brick wall and like disintegrates into particles because he's a ghost. And it was
I was like,
yeah. Could you imagine blood splatter in the middle of this movie? I know Zemeckis has some thoughts, but that's a little weird.
I thought it was like, there are parts of our society that are, dispensable kind of, commentary, but thank God. Okay.
It might have been, but, I don't know. There's still a lot of memorable moments from this movie, and it's actually a good movie when you sit down and watch it. It was just like the tech did not meet up with the vision and gave us some really, really creepy Children of the Corn.
Brian, if I've only ever seen like 3 minutes of this movie at a time, a couple times on TV, would I actually like it if I sat down and watched it front to back?
I think you might actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially as somebody, the movie is about the belief in Christmas. So if that's what you like, I think it will tug at your heartstrings.
Okay. I think I will give it a shot. Guys, we're here. This is it. This is the end. Your number ones. Don't forget about that, those bonus points, hiding out there somewhere in the Christmas air. Go and get them. Nathan,
did we get points for round 2?
Oh, that's right. I should give you guys points. That's right. Again, I'm sorry. I'm a terrible host. I'm still trying to work at this. I'm going to go. Oh boy. You're both getting, you know what? It's Christmas time. I'm giving you each 1 point. Okay, there we go.
That's a lump of coal for old Nathan.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 1 is Love Actually. The whole movie.
Oh, a classic. No, this is a classic movie.
I love it.
The whole movie.
Wait, hold on. Nathan. I think you forget that it takes place in London.
I'm aware. Which hurts my heart even more.
Wow, even more. Wow, okay.
So yes, I know it's a beloved Christmas classic, and it makes everybody feel good and warm and fuzzy, and I don't understand why.
It also stars the woman who you had a poster of above your bed freshman year of college, Keira Knightley.
I do like Keira Knightley. That's true.
Even in spite of. Wow. Okay,
I'm just going to read a brief synopsis of 7 of the different plot lines that run through this incredibly intricate movie. Here we go.
Can I interrupt you one more time? The star of your favorite franchise, Taken 1, Taken again, Taken twice, Taken Quattro, Taken Cinco, Liam Neeson. He's in it.
All right,
You're still not liking this. Okay, wow.
We'll start with him. Right. We'll start with Liam Neeson. All right, here we go. Liam Neeson obsesses over helping his 10-year-old son get the attention of his crutch, this kid named Joanna, who has the same name as his recently deceased mother. Happy holidays. Rick from The Walking Dead professes love for his best friend's wife, the gorgeous Keira Knightley, behind his best friend's back, even getting her to cheat on him briefly. Good tidings we bring. Hugh Grant is the prime minister who has feelings for a subordinate in his administration, which is pretty precarious territory already, but then he only acts on his feelings for her after he gets jealous of the president of the United States sexually harassing her. Deck the halls. Laura Linney wants really badly to hook up with the office eye candy, who she's barely had a conversation with, but she can't because she has to take care of her mentally ill brother, who it appears is capable of being violent with her. Hi-ho, the holly! Colin Firth gets an entire town to follow him as he stalks this woman who he knows nothing about because he's never had a conversation with her because they don't speak the same language. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Alan Rickman has an emotional affair with his subordinate at work, despite being married to goddess in human form Emma Thompson. Joy to the world! And then the guy who looks just like Mitch Brinkman travels to use his accent in lieu of any real charm or personality to have sex with as many American women as possible. Gloria! So many uplifting themes in this movie.
In excelsis Deo.
But Nathan, it's about love, actually. Okay? It's not about that stuff. It's about love, kinda.
The most heartwarming story is the people who work in the porn industry.
Yeah, you didn't mention them or Bill Nighy.
And the burned out rock stars. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's actually, 9 storylines?
There's 9 storylines, yeah.
But
7 of which I object to.
That's a good ratio.
What? Okay. Give us your worst, the worst of all of these. What do you think is the worst thing to do?
It's hard to pick. I mean, probably the emotional affair with your best friend's wife that starts at their wedding, the creepy videotaping and the kissing her on Christmas Eve. That's pretty horrible. But then the Liam Neeson being so invested in his son's crush on another 10-year-old when obviously they're both going through some real trauma about the death of their family. It just, God, it's so dark. This is just, I don't, and I understand, like, I've watched this movie and for some reason it does make you feel kind of good. I don't understand the disconnect between everything I just listed accurately and the way that this movie makes people feel. I guess that's just the power of Christmas. Just if this was set in the summertime, nobody would watch this movie ever. It doesn't work.
It'd be called like Lust, sadly, or something like that.
I'm going to let that be the button on my case.
Okay,
thank you for ending my closing argument.
No problem. Brian, let's see if you can top that, buddy boy. Give us your number one.
All right, you want to talk about dark? We're going to talk about dark. We're talking about 1998's Jack Frost. All right. I love and adore Michael Keaton. He is a treasure. But this movie did him wrong. This movie opens with him being the lead singer, harmonica playing, guitar playing singer of this band that never really got their shot. And they're kind of blues, kind of rock, whatever. They're all kind of middle-aged. They all got families at home. And they're playing this like corporate party at the beginning of it. And he's basically singing a rendition of Frosty the Snowman in blues form.
Okay.
And there's a guy in the back who opens up his flip phone. It's 1998, like, and does a Back to the Future. Oh my God, you got to hear this. And holds up his phone. It's like, we got to sign these guys off their cover of Frosty the Snowman. But he's got a very supportive wife in Kelly Preston. He's got like a 9 or 10-year-old kid that's like kind of okay at hockey, and he needs to be there to help him with hockey. And they finally are going to get their big break on Christmas. They have to go play this party, and 3 other bands are in contesting to get signed with this label. This is the one time they got to play. So he blows off Christmas, and he blows off his son's hockey game to get in the car with the band, and they only make it like half an hour out of town. And he's like, no, I'm canceling this gig. Everybody go back home and spend Christmas with your families. It's not that important. So he makes the right decision. And there's 2 cars. He's being driven by Mark Addy is his keyboard player. So he's being driven by Mark Addy in this like Cadillac car. And there's a van following it. So he decides to take Mark Addy's car to go back home, and all the other guys are going to take the van home. He hits a snowstorm and he dies. He doesn't make it home for Christmas because he made the right decision. And now he has to come back as a snowman. And now...
Oh, God. So creepy.
So this is like a darker version of Mrs. Doubtfire almost.
Yes, it's way worse. But it's like he made all the right decisions in Act 1. Then they murder him. It's like he did the right thing. We're still going to rip the family's heart out. And what makes it so weird is 1998, the snowman, one very creepy, lifeless face. You're noticing a pattern with my list today.
Yep.
Yep. He's like part puppet animatronic, part CGI at some points, but like they built like an entire neighborhood block on a soundstage. So all the day exteriors with snow are on a stage. To accommodate this weird snowman Michael Keaton puppet. It's like, it looks so weirdly polished. And then it's kind of, it's Frosty the Snowman. That is the story of it here. And he came to life one day. He's going to melt. We don't know if he's ever going to see his family again. And basically he needs to see his son's hockey game at the end of the movie, but he's beginning to melt and he's going to miss it again.
Oh my God.
And it's just such a weird thing. He finally goes away. He makes it to the game, blah, blah, blah. Everything is happy, whatever. And it's just like, but then he goes away forever again. Just like now the kids just build snowmans every year just to remind themselves of the one time they saw Dad.
Yeah.
Does he get to have like a little kiss with his wife at all? Like, is there any kind of romance in this film?
I think the snow melts and he gets to like be himself one more time, like in his ethereal form. He's like back.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like the snow melts away and then he's himself.
So then like he's his like rotting corpse self one more for
No, he's cool, normal widow's peak Michael Keaton, late 90s.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank God.
Gets to kiss his wife and tell his son he'll be with him wherever he goes. And then he returns to the afterlife and he's gone.
Wow. So this is the Easter story, but it comes back for one little bit, gives some hope to people, and then disappears again.
That's the Christ in Christmas for you right there.
Oh yes! Yeah. Woo! I was waiting for someone to say that, Brian. You earned yourself some bonus points.
I got one more bonus thing to throw at you.
What's that?
The material of the scarf that he wears would have made such a perfect Christmas sweater. It was like this very nice, warm, perfectly flowing wool kind of whatever, but it looked soft. And it was just like, it's a great little accent to a CGI character to have that thing flowing in the wind. Oh God. He beats up a bunch of kids with snowballs and catches his son dropping off of a cliff and they ride a toboggan down a mountain together and
oh my God,
split the toboggan and they both use it as snowboards. It is a bananas movie. I swear to God.
That sounds like part Christmas Vacation with the disc he goes down. That sounds like Escape from LA when Kurt Russell rides a door as a surfboard. Like this is crazy. I love it.
And when Keaton finally awakes and finally realizes he's in the snowman body, like he has like 15 jokes about his butt being so big. It's really weird. He's like, can't fit through this door. His butt's so big. Man, I can't get used to this butt. And he's like, it's like, how many times can you say butt to make kids laugh? And they just jammed it in.
15 times.
Jammed it all in his ass. Kermit would have loved him as a snowman.
Like, where's Kermit? Oh, he's out on a snowman again. His little green prick inside there staying cold. All right. Those are the number ones. You guys know I have to tally points here, but I'll do it much faster this time. So, Nathan, I would love to just get a little more taste of some singing, some jingle bells. Brian, if you want to duet them, I'd love that. Guys, go for it.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in this one-horse open sleigh. That's not really George Bailey. That's like 80-year-old Jimmy Stewart.
That's.
There's another guy from the 80s that likes to sing, well, Nancy, I used to sing in film as well. So, jingle bells, jingle bells. Let's take the George. Yeah, what? What? We're not watching that film anymore. I was cut from that role, Nancy. Bring me back. Let's cut Tommy from doing this. Move on.
Yes. I was just about to. I was going to let you finish your sentence and go. And guess what? We have something Ronald's never done before. He's never tied. We have another draw, you guys. I'm sorry. I didn't try to do that on purpose. 14-14 today. Everyone gets to share in the holiday spirit, I guess, of the dark holiday moments. So. But we're at the end. So now it's time for the Fast Five. This week's Fast Five, top 5 reasons to utter to your father, hey, Daddio. Number 5. It's 1 p.m. on a Friday in the summer, and Pops is home early already, having put in a solid day of work. And he's got that, I want to do something fun vibe going on. And guess who hasn't showered, has been watching MTV all day, and could go for some ice cream. Hey, Daddio. Number 4. Your father returns from his twice-yearly trip to the mall to restock undershirts, gold toes, and replace a button-up or two. But wait, somebody stopped at the Sunglass Hut and picked up a pair of oval gray shades with just a hint of orange in them? Hey, Daddy-o! Number 3. You and the whole family are out for a Taco Tuesday at Tortilla Ranchito in the strip mall where the old Sears used to be. And right as you're taking your first slurp off your cherry Coke, you see your father plunge a chip into the guacamole for the first time ever, barely covering a corner with the good stuff. And just before he eats it, he says, when in Rome, am I right? Hey, Daddy-o! Number 2. It's Sunday night, 8:15 p.m., and you've settled in to watch Football Night in America with Dan and Al because you're a good little American. But Father stomps in, knowing full well you haven't even looked at your homework yet, as he quietly turns the TV off and points towards the den office. Hey, Daddy-o! Number 1. You just got a text from your bud Croifer, and he says that Lakin's mom's new boyfriend's son just turned 21, and he's hosting a beer bash down by the river. You can't wait to DD for everyone, but Father has the keys. Hey, Daddy-o! And that's this week's edition of Uber Cinco. Please rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts. And once again, we love that hearty wom word of mouth. So please tell your friends, tell your family, send them your favorite episodes, send them your favorite clips. Thank you to the man, the faith, the London native,
Nathan Henningsvent. Merry Christmas, everyone.
And, my brother in elfin arms,
Brian Ernst.
And I've been Mitch Rinkman, and as BizBear always says to all my bears out there who haven't found a den yet, head south and vote. Auf Wiedersehen and adios.
You've just listened to Uber Cinco, a production of UBK Studios. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your fine podcasts from.
If you like what you hear and want to support the show, please visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/UBK Studios. Every little bit helps us keep the lights on and the bill collectors at bay.
Keep tabs on us on all the social media at UBK Studios, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see that we really are just a bunch of good Midwestern boys.